It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to inspire, our mission is to empower, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Shelly Lee. She's in the building, and she'll be talking about no more excuses. Get that book written, and you can even get it done in 90 days. Let's see how that works. What's going on, Shelly? How you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm excited. Thank you so much for being on the show. Couldn't wait to have this conversation. But I know we'll be talking about no more excuses. Some of the audience may not have read your bio yet, so we'll get into who you are in a little while. But first, why are people struggling these days to get their story from themselves into a book? What's holding them back?
The #1 reason is fear. They have fear of sharing their story. They think they're going to be judged by what happened in their past or something they've overcame. They don't want people to know that they're not perfect. They don't want people to know that they have a past, but we all have a past, and the only perfect person is above Jesus Christ.
And what do you say to the person leaning forward saying, well, wait a minute, writing is just not my jam, so that's not why I haven't been able to do it. Writing is just something that it's kind of hard for me to get my words on the paper. What do you say to that person that's listening right now?
I would say to that person, you don't have to write it. You can go in Word and you can dictate it. You can go on Otter.ai and dictate it. You can record your voice and it will type or dictate your manuscript for you with minimum editing, depending on how the app works.
I like it. So you say no more excuses. Before we get into a little about your background and everything, why the title "No More Excuses"? Why did that resonate so much with you?
Because I've heard a lot of people who have come on my platform or who have watched me say, I want to write a book, I want to write a book. And, I'll follow up with them. And one excuse they may use, which could be true, is that they don't have the money. Well, I have payment plans. Another excuse is I'm not a good writer. Well, that's why we have proofreaders and editors. So I feel like there's no more excuses.
What do you say to the person that says, well, wait a minute, my story is no different than anyone else's? I mean, someone else has been through a divorce. Someone else were raised in a tough family. Or my story don't sound no different. Why would anyone even listen to my story, by the way? What would you say to that person that's watching?
Your story is still unique. You may not have experienced everything that divorcee experienced. You may not have had the background that the next person may have had, but you still overcame. And that's the point, sharing your story to help someone else to overcome.
So it's all about helping someone else overcome where they are. How did you get into the business? Well, first, take a moment and why don't you tell folks who you are? That'll be pretty cool. Your background. So 2-part question. Who are you? And what's the backstory that led you to really writing your first book?
I am Shelly Lee. I'm a proud parent of 2 children. I'm a woman of 2 adult children. I'm a woman of God. I'm shy. I'm sassy. I'm educated. I have an MBA. I work a full-time job. I run my own business full-time. And I'm doing everything that I can do to help myself overcome so that I can leave a legacy to my children. What got me started was growing up, I would always carry around journals from junior high school, all the way to adulthood. In these journals, I would have what I wanted to be when I grew up. I would have just thoughts of what I was going through daily. I would even have pastor sermons in those journals. And for some reason, those 7 journals contained all of my writings. And every time that I moved, I never threw those journals away. And I never knew why I didn't throw them away. So in 2015, I was sitting at my current job, and God said, it's time to put it on paper. And I just knew exactly what he meant. And from those 7 journals, I came up with a book. God spoke and I listened.
Mm. How was it writing your first book? What was the struggle that you had personally, just writing the first book and just getting it done?
Writing was not the problem for me because, like I said, those seven journals had everything in it. God gave me the titles, all the words were there. That wasn't the problem. My problem was self publishing. I didn't know
Mm.
anything about self publishing, so I went on Mr. Google, I went on Miss YouTube, I watched different people, I put the formula together, and once I got that formula down together, then I knew what I was doing from here on out. And 3 books later, I'm still doing my self publishing and helping others.
And when you publish your first book, looking back now, what would you do differently today that you didn't do when you first published your book?
I did not hire a proofreader or editor. Someone who was
Mm.
a friend said, I'll review it for you because you're sitting on this book and sitting and waiting, and it's time for you to get it out. So I had this so called friend to review it for me. Mind you, maybe 6 years, 7 years later, I found spacing errors, I found misspelled words, I found all kind of grammatical situations going on in that book. So I had to pull it from the bookshelf and get it edited.
I love the title when I first saw it, by the way, How to Write a Book in 90 Days or Less. I know we have so much time here, but if you had to step back and say, okay, here is step one, step two, step three, would you recommend to someone that says, no, I'm all in. I'm going to take this and there's no more excuses. I'm ready to go out there and I'm ready to write this book. What's step one you would tell them, step two, and then step three?
Step one, God gave me in June of this year an actual module or a theme to base my writing program on. And I was shocked when I got it also. But step one is to pray. I'm faith based, so prayer is something that I do daily for my business, family, friends, and loved ones. And I think prayer is the way we should start each day. So the first step is to pray. The second step is to plan. The third step is the pen. And then there's two more steps is proof and publish. So it's my 5P module.
Wow. And earlier you talked about you were able to do this, that you have a job. You also writing your book. I think I heard you mention that you were raising kids at the same time. Here's the question. A number of our audience are dualpreneurs as well. They work a full-time job and they're a full-time entrepreneur, by the way. There are individuals out there, some are married, some are not. Some have kids, as you talked about. Some have kids who have schedules, by the way. So they got to do all the things for their kids. Others are listening right now and like, well, wait a minute, I'm also a caregiver, Shay. And like myself, I'm a caregiver. Or they're like, wait a minute, I'm involved in my community. I'm involved in my church. I got a lot going on. So what is her advice to someone that has all this going on and you want me to write a book? Okay, come on now. So what would you tell the person that still feel like they're already overwhelmed, but doing a book is in their heart? How do you balance all of this?
It's funny you asked that question because during that time, yes, I was raising children. I was homeschooling my son from ninth through 12th grade. I was working a full-time job, 8 hours. I was running my business full-time. And I was going to college online myself. But I knew that God told me to write this book. God spoke and I listened. And so I knew that I had to set aside time despite that busy schedule, even if it's just starting with 15 minutes. If you tell them, put the children to bed, tell hubby I'll be to bed later, get you a little snack or something on the side and just start writing. Because once you start, well, first pray and then start your writing. Because once you start, you'll be surprised how many pages you could end up with, or at least your first chapter.
You seem to have this ability, and thanks for sharing, by the way, to have this mindset just to push through. Where did this mindset you have that allows you to take action even in the face of fear or uncertainty? For a number of folks, that holds them back. When they don't feel like doing something, they just stop. Right? So, well, I don't really feel like doing today, so today must not be my day. But you have this innate ability. Here's the question: where did the gift come from that you have to have this mindset to persevere no matter what?
I'm going to say I get that from my mother. My mother was a single parent. I'm a single parent. My mother raised 4 kids. I helped her, to the best of my ability with, being a big sister and being the oldest. And she always taught me to be, not do as she did, but be better than what she is, or what she is, not do as I say, but be better than me. And so with that training and growing up in the church and knowing that God doesn't give up on us, I can't give up on myself. I got to keep moving despite what I'm going through.
Are there affirmations that you tell yourself? And if so, what type of affirmation do you tell yourself to have this positive mindset and to keep moving forward?
My favorite scripture is you can put me on the spot. Philippians 4:13. If I'm
Okay.
right, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. And there are days where I don't feel like doing. It's hard being I have two adult children now, but they're still in the home with me, and they're working and whatnot. And I'm trying to get them grounded so that they can go out on their own and be able to sustain life. And there are days when it's hard and you're wondering how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna do that. Go ahead and vent, but I say vent, but don't quit.
Bend, but don't quit. Your life seems perfect so far. We're going to find out later if she's ever had any setbacks because we have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you know what we're about to do. You might even wait for this special moment. We get to say those words. Today is my January 1st. And for all of the new folks who are tuned in right now, who are listening and thinking, what is the world is Shay talking about? Well, today is my January 1st is our personal mantra at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents to us a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy the past is, our past no longer equals the future. And so my question for the one and only Shelly on the other side is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what does it mean? Or what do you hear? But more importantly, was there ever a time that things didn't go right? Maybe your life's been perfect so far that you had a setback. And if you did, how did you bounce back from it?
I can remember I had my first virtual book launch. It was with this Texas group or something or another, and we were going to have the chance to go into have little breakout rooms online, and people would visit your breakout room and talk to you, let you share about your books and things like that. Get to know you as an author. So I told everybody I knew, family, friends, strangers, loved ones, the whole 9 yards. All you have to do, click this link, and you will come into my room and we can talk about my books and things like that. Well, I got up early that day, got my stuff together, logged into the room, and was ready for the people. Do you know nobody showed up with one person? This one person was a stranger, and she only stayed for 5 seconds. She told me to keep up the great work, but she only could stay for 5 seconds because she had other people to go and look at. Well, that day I decided I'm not writing no more books. I don't care what you say, Lord. I ain't doing it. I closed my laptop down. I went to my room. I got in my bed and I pouted and I sulked and I was mad and I probably even shed some tears. I said, I'm done with this. I don't care what you say. And so God used this lady. Her name is Lorinda. She ended up calling me and she wanted to know how it went. And I told her no one showed up. And no, I ignored her. She messaged me. I ignored her. She texted me. I ignored her. And she kept on after me until she heard my voice. I said, I quit. I'm giving up. Nobody showed up for me. I'm done with all of this. And so she said, no, man, no woman of God, you will not quit. You may go ahead and have your pity party, but you're going to keep going. Then this guy named Jeremiah Robertson, he's a swag her consultant. He ends up contacting me and said, how did it go, Queen? And that's what he calls all his customers. And I said, no one showed up. And he's like, don't you give up. You're not going to do this. You're going to keep going. And so those two people, and then my mom ended up calling. And so those three people really just showed me that, Shelly, even if nobody shows up, show up for yourself. And that's what I do.
Show up for yourself. Those are very powerful words, and you're someone that's doing it out there today. So congratulations, by the way. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days? You seem to be having a lot of fun when you talk about helping others and seeing them write their book and seeing them publish their book. It seems to bring you joy. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
I like when that author gets to hold their book in their hands. One of my authors wrote his first book, and he videoed himself opening the book with me on there live and holding his book, and he was so shocked. I did this. I did this. I did that. So I like it when they see what they birthed out.
Wow. I like that. So for the person that's listening right now and says, okay, I'm convinced. I've heard her speak, Shay. I want to get my book done, and I need to talk to someone like her that can help me not only write it, but get it published. If you had to step back and you were in their shoes, and certainly they should work with you, that's my recommendation, but you're in their shoes, you said, you know what, if you're going to work with someone like my company, here are 3 things that you should do, or 3 questions you should be asking just to make sure it's a good fit, right? Because not everybody's a good fit for everyone. So what would you advise someone like, I'll say Shay Brown, who's looking to work with someone to get his book done because he's inspired after hearing you? What are 3 things I should look for when I'm working with a company like yours?
You're going to get accountability, if I could say the word correctly. I have been told by my clients that they have quoted and have said, Shelly will hold you accountable. I had one client, her name is Ashley Marie. She just did her book, Blessed and Bad to the Bone. She would ignore me. I text her, she wouldn't answer. I call her, she wouldn't answer. I Facebook messaged her, she wouldn't answer. She finally knew that I'm going to hold her. I emailed her. I made sure I tried every channel there was to reach out to her. So you're going to definitely get accountability. You're also going to get hard work. I'm going to sit with you in the trenches. I'm going to listen to you vent. Okay, I heard what you said now. What are we going to do different? How are we going to set your schedule out to go ahead and fix this problem? I'm going to be there every step of the way if you'll allow me.
I
And
love it.
third, affordability. I
Wait,
have a
what's number
crisis
3?
that, yes, third is affordability. I'm not trying to charge you an arm and a leg, but I have to realize my worth at the same time, and I'm willing to work with you on your budget. So those are the 3 things.
I love it. And one of your books, I think it was the second book. Tell us a little bit about who that book is for. I think it was Let Us Believe, Let Us Pray, I believe. Well, anyway, I saw that and I like to pray, I like to believe, and then I got to go take some action. So what was the title of the book? Who's that book written for? And why was it so important that you write that book?
So that's my third book. It's called Let Me Encourage You to Pray, Believe, and Wait. Back before I wrote it, I always thought about things, and we're told we gotta pray, you gotta believe in God, you gotta wait on God, and I just got so tired of hearing that over and over. But that's what the old saints would always say, and I realized that that was true. So that book was written for one, to encourage myself, because I can encourage others all day long, but I can't take the time to encourage Shelly. So it was an ode to myself also. It's written for the business person, encouraging you not to give up on your business. It's written for the single parents, those who are raising kids alone and feel like, Lord, how am I going to get through this? It shows you that you can overcome. It's also written for people who have deceased parents, letting you know God is a father to the fatherless. So and then at the very end, I share my story of in my personal life of where I had to pray, believe, and wait for God on the situation I was praying for.
Wow. Wow. And here you are today making it a reality for other folks. One of the questions I love to ask when I get a chance, and I have a chance now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience so they're clear here that you've had a lot of mentors along this journey of life. You talked about reading as many books. You talked about going back to school. You talked about helping other folks. But if you had to step back and say, wow, she have all the books I've read, of all the movies I've watched, I don't know, of all the classes I've been in, here's the best piece of advice I've ever been given and why. What would it be? What's the piece of advice and why is it so important?
So you mentioned I have a lot of mentors. I do. I have like, I think 3 coaches, if not 4. And the best, when I was starting off, I didn't have some of the coaches that I have. But since then, the best piece of advice I've gotten is from my coach. Her name is Coach Elise Michelle. And she said to do it scared. So as I'm sitting here before you, I'm shy, but I'm going through it. I don't like being on camera, but here I am. And I know that I'm the face for my business, and I'm going to do it scared, but it's going to get done with God's help.
Okay, well, you don't seem like you're shy to me. You seem like you're doing a lot of talking over there.
Yes, I am.
Some of the shining nerves like to be behind the camera. I think you're doing a good job. You're out here saving the world,
Thank
helping people
you.
write their book, and writing their book leaves a legacy. What's one of the most
Yes.
important reasons why someone could write a book and just get it done? Talk about the legacy piece and how it can help so many people that they may never, ever meet.
So your book can be a legacy, like Shay said. Legacy, like Shay said. It's also another form of a revenue. It's also passive income. It's also you can build courses around your books. You can build digital products around your books. This is writing a book is just the beginning. There are so many opportunities that your books can lead to. Speaker opportunities, turning into plays, turning into movies. It's so many things that is untapped that you can do. But first, you got to write the book.
I like that. You got right back to the bottom line. You got to write the book. So everyone out there, write the book. You see the title and I was no more excuses. Man, that just
Yeah.
grabbed me. By the way, it just really did grab me. Um, what do you do for fun? When you're not out saving the world, you're not out writing books for other folks. What do you do for fun these days?
You're going to find this interesting, but what I like to do for fun is watch the ID channel. So if I'm not watching Law and Order SVU, I am watching Fatal Attraction. I'm watching American Monster, all kind of crime shows. For some reason, that's fun to me, and I also like to read when I can on the side.
Yeah, yeah. My wife likes watching crime shows as well. I tell you, if something ever happens, she's a detective. She's on the case ace.
Yes.
So I get it. That is so cool. What does success look like for you these days?
So, success looks like for me the chance of living the life that I have always wanted. I haven't made it there yet, but I'm going in the right steps to do it. I want to be able to not work a corporate job. I want to be able to log on to my computer, log in for about 2 hours, see the sales that came in from different opportunities. I want to travel. I want to know that there's money in the bank, checking, savings on hand, money to help the next person that may need help. I just want to sow that seed in my life and my children's life so that I can help others. That's what success is to me.
You're there. Success to me for you is you being here right now, sharing your time, your talent, and your expertise with other folks, and really helping make their lives become their dreams, I should say, become a reality. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. Number one, how can folks best connect with you? And number two, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days, if any?
Okay. So Pen.Paper.Publish. I'm on Facebook under that name. I'm on Instagram under that name. I am on Threads. I also have a YouTube show that I've started under that name. So pen period paper period dot publish. I am looking for clients who are ready to get their story out, who are ready to do it scared. So that because you are sitting on someone else's testimony, your story can help the next person to overcome. And those are the clients that I'm looking for. Let's do it scared. Let me help you birth and deliver your book today.
Let's do it. Let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And you've given us the most precious resource you have, which is your time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to viewers for allowing us to be in your home this evening, by the way. We appreciate it, whether you're listening to us in your ears right now. Maybe you have your AirPods on or your headset. Maybe you're cooking right now in the kitchen, and this is just sitting up on an iPad or a laptop, and you can hear us in the background. We appreciate you, even if you're on one of our streaming devices. Thank you so much, because without you, well, we don't have a show. So we really appreciate you. And I'll never get tired of reminding you, every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that you're really special. You're incredible. You're awesome. You're a game changer. That didn't stuff just to get you hyped up, but it is the reality. And no matter what's going on in your life, by the way, whether you're doing really, really well and there's another gear you're trying to get to, or whether life's hit you with the punch you never saw coming. The one thing I believe is that today is your January 1st. Happy New Year to you. And your best is yet to come. Because of that one reason, your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, it hasn't changed. It's still Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone, and we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. God bless, and we're out of here. Peace. Thanks so much. See you later. Thank you very much, Shelly. You did a great job. We out,
Thank
everybody.
you. Love